Peace be with you, and God bless you all, and I hope that you enjoy my testimony, or my part of my mission trip to Haiti. And of course we went with the Good News Assembly of God people. Now, I passed up on 2 mission trips with those guys. I was invited twice before. And I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't safe. I can't quite explain it to you, what happens when you get an invitation to go and serve. But this time I was ready. And I had absolutely no fear. I knew that God was with me. I had complete peace. And we knew the warnings, the State Department warnings in Haiti. And the warnings were, don't go to Haiti. And if you go to Haiti, don't go to Port-au-Prince. And if you go to Port-au-Prince, don't go into the slums. Well, we did it all. And I'm here to talk about it today. 11 of us went, and it was one of those cold January evenings. I will go back here a little bit, I'll get used to the clicker. You know, a typical January evening in the UP, 30, 40, 50, 60 below zero. At 3 o'clock in the morning, you remember in January how cold it got? I knew that I was going to be with a bunch of good guys, because that's Herb Dieterle there, with his arm around John Stone. I don't know if they're trying to keep warm or not, but it was cold in the bus all the way to Esplanade. But I knew that we were with a good group of loving men, that's for sure. We got to Esplanade, and we go through our check-in, and I see the sign. It's right down in front of it. It's a National Terrorism Advisory System, and it says, if you see something, say something, report suspicious activity, and guess what? I reported them. I've been trying to get them for 25 years. On the sidelines, right? I was ready to travel. That's me on the right with the Snoopy hat and goggles.
Go back one.
See? Whoops. Let me go. That's me on the right. Right there. There we go. Oh, okay. Snoopy hat and goggles. I was ready to travel. We got to Detroit, and this is underground Detroit. I don't know how many of you have been through the Detroit airport. Well, I'll tell you what, I don't know what heaven is like in traveling up to heaven. But you kind of feel a little bit that way traveling through this walkway there, because they've got all the laser lights and then the beautiful music, don't they? And it kind of made me think about that. You know, what is traveling up to heaven and such a peaceful type of journey. This picture here, I have to go back again. This picture here, I'm showing because Bruce Nelson, I'll get used to the clicker. Bruce Nelson is there on the left, and I know many of you know Bruce. And that's Fred Argyle on the right. Bruce was sick. He had that upper respiratory illness that went around, that lasted for a couple of weeks in the high temperature. And he said, I'll go to New York, and if I don't make it, if I still don't feel good, I'm coming back. So we're in New York, and I told him, if you go back, I'm going back with you. So he went sick. And then Brett got sick over there as well. Never missed a day of work. Either of these 2 people missed a day of work. Brett's temperature got up to 103 degrees while he was over there, but never missed a day of work. There's us in New York, and I'm sure the Magnusons recognize one of the people in that picture there. Did you see your son-in-law?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Ron's going to be in a lot of these pictures. He was a hard worker. Now, when we're traveling, and you don't know, what's in front of you, like our daily life, right? We really don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, or what the next hour is going to bring, or the next day is going to bring. You kind of contemplate, where we are in life, and what's going to happen. What's going to happen to us the next hour, the next day, the next week, or the next month? And are we going to be a year from now, or 2 years from now? And now I'm out over the ocean, and I took a picture of that cloud, on purpose, because you're thinking to yourself, what am I up against? What am I getting myself into? And what's on that other side? And before you know it, you're in another world, and that's Haiti. And that's part of the slums that's down by the airport and down by the ocean. We arrived in Haiti 2 years ago. 2 years ago, that airport didn't exist. And they've come a long way. They've got a long way to go. 75% of Port-au-Prince was devastated in the earthquake in January of 2010. They put us in a cattle bus, and I think that was for our safety. The Good News Assembly of God church people were very concerned about our safety in Haiti. So we were confined in we called it a cattle bus. So we learned a lot of new words in that bus, like moo. And we heard that every time we were traveling in. But it was for our safety, and we do it. As we were going back to the mission house, this is the first glimpses that we had of Port-au-Prince. You see the people here on the right? You see that? 7 days a week, 24/7. It seemed like it was a perpetual movement of people and of cars, and it just didn't stop. It was just continual movement from 6 o'clock in the morning until we would get through at 5, 6, 7 o'clock. It was perpetual movement. It's something that's hard to believe. Port-au-Prince in 2006 had a population of about 2 million people. And in 2012, they think it's 4.5 million people. Because people have left the countryside to come into the city because of jobs, and there are no jobs. Here's some facts about Haiti that I think will kind of knock you out of your socks. The average lifespan for males in Haiti is 60 years. Females is 63. Haiti is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. 90% of the population, 90% of 10 million people live in poverty. And 50% live in abject poverty. 80% live on less than $2 a day, US dollars. 60% less than $1 a day. 65% of the household income is spent on food. 24 to 40% of the children under 5 have chronic malnutrition, and we saw it. 50% of the entire Haitian population do not have safe drinking water. The average Haitian only eats 1 meal per day, and we saw that too. Many do not eat at all. And if you're an average Haitian family, you don't have breakfast any day. 70% don't have electricity, 90% don't have running water or indoor plumbing, and 80% lack adequate sanitation. It's amazing, isn't it? You have to shake your head. And when you see it, you know it's absolutely true. 60% unemployment in Haiti. Only 50% of the children attend school. Only 20% make it past the 6th grade. 50% of Haitians are illiterate. 80% of Haitians are Catholic, 16% Protestant, and 4% are others, including voodoo. And voodoo is practiced along with their Christianity. In Haiti, there's 1 doctor for every 10,000 people. In America, it's 1 doctor for every 300 people. So this is what you don't. I didn't know it going into Haiti, but I did know it once I was there and studying it coming back. Very typical, getting goods around in the city of Haiti. A wheelbarrow. And we saw a lot of that. In Haiti, people make a living any way they can. And we saw hundreds and thousands of private people having their little spot on a sidewalk where there was people, where they sold goods. This was artwork. Every little tent is just a little store, a little private store that people are selling at. Selling something, some type of goods. Clothing. Willie's Tire Shop, Haiti. Look at the tires. And how do they air up the tires? Well, you see the little gasoline power plant that they have there? Consumers Building Supply. Haiti, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. That's how they get things around, and we saw people carrying it. Did you see that little rickshaw type thing there? That's how they deliver their goods. And you see one man pulling that. Now, it must be perfectly balanced. It looks awfully crude, doesn't it? But it works because you can carry a lot of weight with one man. I don't know the equation of American dollars to Haitian dollars. I forgot it. But it isn't $200 for regular gasoline and $195, for unleaded gasoline. I don't know how to equate it. And this was kind of fun for me. It's the only one that I saw when I was in Haiti. And what do you think that is?
Used car dealer.
It's a used car dealer, absolutely right. And what we affectionately called it was Saints Auto to Port-au-Prince. Okay. I had to do that, right? This is where we stayed, a beautiful mission house. It could have fit 40 of us. And we would have had plenty of bathrooms and plenty of showers. You can see the security here, right? The locked gates. Everything is locked in Haiti. And everything is surrounded by the businesses and homes by the razor wire. And I passed it up again, I apologize for that. Razor wire, right? Everything. And obvious reasons. It's daily survival in Haiti. Daily survival for the average Haitian citizen. That was our cook on the left, and her niece on the right. She spoke 3 languages. She spoke English and French and Creole. And she was an excellent cook. And we only had one Haitian meal of beans and rice, and it was delicious. And that's their main staple, is beans and rice. But we had one meal of that while we were there in Haiti. That's the cattle truck again that protected us when we were riding through the streets of Port-au-Prince, Haiti. It was an uncomfortable truck, but it was safe. That's up the street from the mission house, and you can see it's all gravel roads. There are very few paved roads in Haiti. Very few paved roads. That was across the street, beautiful. There's some flowers. I didn't see many, not in the areas that we were riding in, traveling back and forth to our mission. This is from the second story up, looking at the mountains in Haiti. Monday through Friday, you couldn't see the mountains because of the dust. I thought it was, a pollution. And I guess dust is pollution, but it was just that there were so many people traveling down into the city that the dust, you couldn't see the mountains. But on Saturday and Sundays you could. There's not as many people traveling. So it's kind of a beautiful view, isn't it? There's not many trees in Haiti. 97% of the country has been deforested. The lumber has been sold out. 97% of the forest is gone. Now we're traveling to church on Sunday morning, and we ran across this lake right here. Now, I wonder what she's thinking. And kind of look at her face there. I don't know how old she is. I know that she's poor. Look at the wheelbarrow. I can't tell what she has in the wheelbarrow. That makes, I think, goods that would be what they would be used for. But look at the stance that she has, and look at how she has her hands over her face. And I wonder, what is she thinking? Did she push that wheelbarrow as far as she could push it, and just couldn't push it anymore? And I wondered, what about, her hope that she had in her life for that moment and for the next day? And there's a few verses that come to my mind when I travel page and I look through my slides. This one was Matthew 6:34, and this is what I thought about. Therefore, do not be anxious about tomorrow, for tomorrow will be anxious for itself. Let the day's trouble be sufficient for today. Daily survival in Haiti for 90% of the population. And that shows it, doesn't it? That picture shows it. This gal was right next to the church. She did not allow me to take a picture of her. I snuck that picture out. I didn't know that you have to ask permission to take pictures of Haitians. Most approved, some didn't. And if they saw you taking a picture, they gave you that one finger salute. You know, they did not like the pictures taken unless you had permission to take it. So we're getting ready to visit the job site and attend church with them on Sunday morning. They dress really nice, don't they? I mean, the people in church and the schools are very, very clean, well dressed. And there's the primary and secondary school sign for the school that we were working on. The building up on top, thank God, the steel structure was up and the roof was up because we didn't have to work in the sun. 90% of our work was in the shade. And it was 75 to 85, 90 degrees while we were there. And we came from 40, 50, 60 below January day up from Michigan, right? Okay. The forefront is Richard Green. Richard works for Builders International. I shouldn't say work, but he's a Builders International construction foreman. He was the head of our building people workforce for Michigan. Richard has built 50 to 100 churches in the United States and throughout the world. He does it free. No pay. That's his mission, to build churches. It's amazing. It's just amazing. That's our job. We're going to pour that cement floor, and we're going to do it by hand. About 27 yards of concrete that was poured up there by hand, and you'll see some pictures of it. That's the church in the background, and these are outdoor classrooms. And while we were there under the construction and made a tremendous amount of noise, school went on. Anyone speak French? Right across the street is you saw the little outdoor market, because there are markets on every corner. That's a chicken coop that was right next to the church. And there's the entrance for the church. And these are like Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts that work inside there. And you see their little poles? Well, when they're down like that, you can enter. When they haven't crossed, you cannot enter. And church starts at 6:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning in Haiti. We got there at 8:15. All right. They also use those sticks to kind of poke people when they fall asleep. Never happened with Pastor Dave's sermon. But I saw it, and that's what they do. They're here. We're waiting to get into the church. The pastor of the church, Pastor Nicholas, a tremendous man, spoke French and spoke fluent English. Tremendous man of God, very, very humble. His church school was more than 2 years behind schedule. And the Assembly of God people, commissioner said he never complained one time. Never complained. He was there every day from 7 in the morning until we finished that night. He greeted us in the morning. And when we left, the day we left, he was there and shook every one of our hands. He was a very humble servant of God and very appreciative for his new church school. There's a young Girl Scout, and that's what I have to call her, reading the lessons for today. And this gentleman gave the sermon for our section of the church. He spoke for probably 45 minutes to an hour, and I've never heard. I don't know, French, and he spoke totally in French. I've never heard anyone be so passionate in a sermon that I've ever witnessed. It was long-winded, and he was worn out when he was done, and sweating. Just sweat. The congregation, there were probably 200 to 250 people in church that morning. This gentleman is with his wife and his daughter, and he allowed me to take that picture because I asked him if it would be okay by sign language, and he shook his head yes, and I took a picture of him. And the Assembly of God, if you ever attended one of their classes, the praise band started their music, and the gal in the blacks started to raise and started to jive a little bit, you know, and I knew things were going to happen. And they sure did. They sure did. They really worshiped the Lord. You didn't have to know the language, because now they're rocking and they're jiving. And I think you'll be able to see it on some of these people's faces here. You can see it, can't you? Slain in the Spirit. I didn't see any little children get poked with a stick, but the adults sure did. Gentle prodding. This gentleman really spoke to me. We were looking right at him from where we were sitting in the front of the church. He didn't come into church. He stood there for the entire 2 hours that we were in church. And you just wondered what was on his mind and why he didn't come into church and sit with the rest of the congregation, why he just kept looking in. And that brought me to another Bible verse. And when I look at him and I look at his eyes there, ask and it will be given to you, seek and you will find, knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and he who seeks finds, and to him who knocks it will be open. And if you look at his face, he was with it, but he didn't move. He kept his hands right on the bars of the church. The children are absolutely beautiful. This little girl that's coming up next, you see her on the left there? Her name is Junia, and that's her mother. Junia, maybe the most disheveled girl, little girl that came out of the church that day. You can see her little black hair is a little disheveled there. Well, she came out of church, and I don't know what possessed me to do this. I just went, and she went, and she walked right over to me. And I bent down, she gave me a kiss right here, you know, and she just hugged my leg, and I'm telling you, I'm staying. Because I've been had, right, by that young lady. Look at her eyes. She's a special young lady. On Monday, I wanted to find her again. So I showed pictures that I had to the pastor and to the superintendent of the school. And they knew who she was. And she brought her to me. They brought her to me. And I looked down at this little thing and I said, no, that's not Junia. That's Junia. That's not Junia. And Junia looked up at me. And she doesn't speak the language, right? She doesn't speak English. She goes, and I knew it was Junia. Look at the difference, eh? You know, and we posted that, but I'll tell you what, you talk about get close to someone. She's just a little angel. And you know, we talk about hope and a future, and that's Junia's mother. With very unique opportunity here because my wife and I are sponsoring her through the Good News Assembly of God Church. You know, and the sponsorship for her means that she gets food, you know, while she's in school, and her books and her education. The Assembly of God churches are free education in Haiti. And 1 meal a day of enriched rice and beans. So free food, free education. Half of the students, half of the children in Haiti do not go to school because they can't afford to go to school. They can't afford it. They cost $30 to $100 a year in private school in Haiti, public school, and people can't go. So the unique opportunity that we had with that was that I actually got to meet the child that we're sponsoring. And they made it happen real quick, you know, and I thought that was pretty cool. So the mother knew who we are, right? We knew who they are, and we get to write and follow her and support her through her senior year in school. Now, if Junia can stay in school, I think, and get through her senior year, I think she has a lot more hope. Unfortunately, only 20% of the females go through 6th grade in Haiti. This is one of the slum areas that we went through when we traveled from church and back to the missionary. If you can see on both sides of the road, it's not a pretty sight. Those are tar paper shacks and tin shacks And someone lives in that house, right there. Now, if you see that little thing right, you see this right here? That's water. And as you get down the road a little farther, it's more water. Well, it's not water, it's urine. It's urine. And it rolls like a river down the streets and the slums because they have no sanitation. And you can smell it. All along the road, wherever you go, wherever there's people, they have their little businesses. Now we're heading up to the top of Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and that's usually is open. You know, it's one of those places that are open 365 days a year, 12 months a year. You know, closed on Sundays. Closed on Sunday. We couldn't get over, but it overlooks the entire city of Port-au-Prince, and that's what we're showing there. And that's the best picture I could get for it. That afternoon, we went in this 5-star motel and had a beautiful meal, and they had tennis courts and swimming pools. You know, and opulence. You know, there's opulence too. But right across from that 5-star motel, that's what you have. You know, it's another slum, and you can see the housing there. It's bricks. You see the tarps on the roof? And that's good housing. That's good housing. Most of the people in Haiti live in shacks like that, dirt floors, no beds, maybe a table, maybe a couple of chairs, and that's what they're used to. That's average Haitian. Bill Smith on the left there, and he was our host and a missionary in Haiti. He's been there for 20 years. And Mike Hardew, I don't know if you know Mike, but he held our evening devotionals, and they went every night for 1 to 2 hours, and they were really pretty warm. We talked about our experiences while we were there, and of course the people that we met. This is our first day on the job. The sun is rising in the background. This guy was showing off. He was warming up for the heat, for the work of the day, and I put my 185 pounds on him, and I said, "Okay, now lift." Hunter could have done that, but he couldn't do it. And Ron was getting warmed up. What do you call that? Arm wrestling, eh? It was a 5-minute arm wrestle with that Haitian right there, and Ron won after about 5 minutes. It was intense. The cement came in, and we made a human shank. We got all the 100-pound sacks of cement in. The cement mixers, we had 2. But it was all lifted up to that second floor by hand. There's Irv. He was straightening out the rods. I became a rod buster, not a very good one or not a very quick one, but you do what you can do. And we all did. It was amazing. I asked after the trip. Everyone worked as hard as they could work. You rested for a little bit, but you didn't want to. I wish we were there for 2 weeks or a month, that we could have got more work done. But not one day were we sore. And I asked every one of the people that were on the trip, they never got sore. Isn't that amazing? And you're doing work that you've never done before, you know, but you're never sore the next day. You didn't have sore muscles, sore joints. That's how it was done. Lifted up the ladder in 2-gallon buckets, and we poured 27 yards of concrete by hand. And the building codes that the Builders International build with is a California code. So for earthquakes in the future, these buildings will be protected. And that's a good thing to know. Okay, school's in session. Look at the little guy there. You always got one, right? One hunter. Right? He stands up. I'm taking the picture. He stands up. He gives me the okay signal, right? Really cute. Free education provided by the Assembly of God Church. They're beautiful children. And this is the higher grades inside the church.
try to skip that one. There we go. And that's the other side of the church. So they're from preschool right through 12th grade. Free education and 1 meal a day. That little girl, she got walloped from her teacher. And I witnessed that whole thing. She didn't behave, and she got swatted on the back of the head, and she had to go stand in the corner with the dunce hat. And she didn't like it. You could see her face, but she was there for quite a while. That's George, and these kids. I see it on television where these little black children are just trying, touching people, touching white people's hands. You know how they just reach out and touch. And we all did it, and we all did it with them, in the break of school, when they had their school break. And we got just as much out of it as they did. But that's what George is doing there. They're just touching hands. And these are the older students in the school on break. George had a wonderful relationship with the kids, and he did a lot of that PR work with the children. There we're handing out gum. And it was really interesting that they have nothing. Children in Haiti, most children they have one toy. One toy, if any. And I saw them kicking around the street, playing soccer. And you know what they use? A pop bottle, a plastic pop bottle. Because they can't afford the soccer balls. No, we saw it. And there's their food. That's that 1 meal a day. Cooked outside by this gal that's hired by the school to cook outside in the pot over charcoal, the meal of rice and bread. That's the pastor, Pastor Nicholas, and head of the church and the church school. Beautiful children, eh? Look at it. The bathroom, it was outhouses, right? That was behind the church and this church school. What you can't see here is there's two doors here, and there's two women that live in there. One very elderly, sickly woman, and another gal that does the cooking for the school. And then the latrine is right over in here, and the stench is unbelievable. With the temperatures warm, it's unbelievable. And it's a two-holer, one for women and one for men. And the little children went out in back of the classrooms that I showed you, and they didn't use the bathroom. They didn't use the toilet facilities. They went up and used the dirt in the back. And they peed and pooped in the back, right in back of the school room. No toilet paper. I went in one of those rooms by accident when I was going to the bathroom. When I first had to go use the bathroom. And I walked into one of the lady's houses. That's where she lived for many years, and had a bed and clothes and a chair. And I excused myself for walking in, but I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. There's a little hole on the right-hand corner. That's where we got our well water to fill our 500-gallon plastic containers for use in making the cement. And it was all done by hand. Everything was done by hand, 5 gallons at a time to fill the cement, the 500-gallon containers. There's Rich, and I didn't take that picture on purpose, catching him yawning, but I'll tell you what, he never stopped working. He continually worked along with the Haitian men, 13 Haitian guys, and ourselves. He never stopped, but I caught him yawning. Some of the guys were really friendly. Some of the Haitian people were really friendly towards us, and some were pretty quiet. These guys, Jimmy on the left, they're very, very friendly. And upstairs they were doing the windows for the church school, ventilation windows, and that's Bill Nelson making his template. Corruption in Haiti is absolutely horrible. From the top down and from the bottom up. That police officer stopped Richard 4 times, and he stopped him this time because of a new law in Haiti, not wearing a seatbelt.
They don't stop Haitians, because Haitians can't pay. They only stop white people. And this time it was a $25 bribe to get out of the ticket. And that's what it was. It cost $25. And he's telling us the story afterwards and laughing about it because it was the 4th time he stopped on the same cop, on the same corner for something, right? So it cost him a few $100. These guys, these older guys, worked with us for the entire week. I feel that I can pretty much get anybody to smile and laugh, joke around. I couldn't get these guys to smile, and I couldn't get them to laugh. Could not. You talk about the hope and the despair. Now, the average Haitian makes $3.50 a day. If you work, 60% don't. The church, the Good News Church, paid these guys $12.50 a day. So very fair wages. Very fair. A Coca-Cola in Haiti costs $1. $1. That's almost a third of their income that they make for a day then, right? So I put it in perspective. If you're a miner and you're making $200 a day, your Coca-Cola costs you $57.50. Those guys didn't smile. Just some of the work in progress here. Resourceful. Nothing is wasted in Haiti. The plastic bags are picked up and they make purses with them. The plastic containers from soda pop and all that are picked up. You see people picking them up on the street. Nothing is wasted because there's nothing to waste. He made his hat out of a cement bag. And it was waterproof. He made it waterproof. There's the starting of the block. We really did a lot of work, and they actually ordered the block in for us so we could start the block work. We didn't expect that we'd get that far, and we did. Bruce Nelson picking on one of the local Haitians. John Stone. Irv in the background. Ron. And kids of the street. This one little guy, that's Jimmy, there too. He won't have a chance. He hung around for 7 days that we were there, always hung around in the street. He didn't go to school. He was one of Rich's favorite little kids. He doesn't have a chance. And he doesn't have much hope. He doesn't even go to school. I don't know if he had a mother and father, or where he lived in that neighborhood. Kids are writing their initials in the cement, right? That's down the street from the church school and the church. It was all walking. There were no cars down there. It was just walking into the neighborhoods. And dirt, you can see the dirt streets. And you can see the corner where they're selling the fruit for their daily living and daily survival. Women carry most of the things when they're carrying on their head. They have a little bandana on top of their head or so it balances. But I wonder how much that weighs. Women, take note. Take note. You can do a lot more than you do right now. Some construction is being redone. There is some paving going on, and that's the only heavy equipment that we saw while we were in Haiti. And they were doing paving of some of the streets near the downtown area. I was contemplating, like that woman was contemplating, and just thinking about what you see during the day and what you see going through these neighborhoods and the people that you met when you were working. And I saw I have a hand like this, and I was thinking to myself, and one of the Haitian guys really thought that was funny. And that we were riding back that night, and there he is, right there on the left. So he did it. See, and that's the story. The guy on the right was one of the hardest workers there, but he didn't smile. He had 2 children, a wife. He didn't smile. He worked very, very hard. He was an excellent worker, but he didn't smile. The guy on the left smiled a lot. You can see it in him, can't you? I mean, it was very serious, very stoic. Here I am packing up T-shirts that we took to Haiti. From Our Redeemer Lutheran Church and from
from friends that we asked for t-shirts that we would give away. We got 125 to 150 t-shirts and a lot of extra baggage to go to Haiti. And all the guys on the trip contributed for the extra baggage for the t-shirts, which I thought was just wonderful. I didn't expect it, but they all chipped in to pay for the extra luggage. The t-shirts went to the poorest of the poor in city Seoul in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. The worst slum in the city. We couldn't go down there. None of us could go down there. It was too dangerous. That's handing out the t-shirts. There's tens of thousands of young children in city Seoul that are orphans, that walk the streets. They have no parents. Tens of thousands of kids that just walk around and walk around and walk around. But with the church school, at least this church school, like another Good News Assembly of God, that they get free education and they get their one meal a day. They look pretty happy, don't they? The tag is still on that t-shirt. Now we're starting in the front wall of the church. There's the block work. That truck came in with a load of gravel, and we had to do a little landscaping, a little leveling over there. You know, so that truck, probably what, 40, 50 yards of soil or rocks that I had to move all by myself, and I can prove that right there. Okay, I have a little landscaping experience, so I dug in and I got that 40, 50. Oh, I lied. I had some help. I had some help. The neat thing about the block work is Mike Haryu taught to the Haitians how to lay block. So on Friday, the last day of our week there, our work week, he taught them how to do it. So they would have other job skills and be able to use that in getting work elsewhere. And he just had two that worked with us all week that he thought had promise and showed that they could learn. He taught them how to lay block. That's you see right here. That's across the street from the school now again. She sold some of the fruit. This is her daily living. And she has 3 children, a husband, and right here is charcoal. So they can afford to buy like a coffee can, a little larger than a large coffee can full of charcoal, you know, maybe for a day, last a day. How many dozen eggs is she carrying? And look at her smile. I asked her if I could take her picture. She couldn't signal me, so I just went, okay. And she smiled and I took her picture. How many ladies could balance that? Pastor checking over the work, as he did every day. He didn't speak much. Next door neighbors, very friendly people. He didn't work. He was in college, but he didn't work. He asked for a job, and a lot of people stopped by and asked for work, and there was none available. This young lady couldn't speak and couldn't hear, and I didn't know that. But we gave out candy to the children, you know, and she had seen that. And she was babbling, really babbling, and I couldn't understand, and I thought, well, maybe I don't understand the language, but then she went like this, and she wanted something to eat. So I thought everything was gone. So I went into the cooler, and there was some Oreo cookies. And I gave her the Oreo cookies, and she really appreciated that. And then the next day, you see she's not wearing shoes? She's not wearing shoes. A third of the guys that came over to do the cement work with us didn't have shoes. And they never had shoes for the whole week. A third of them never had food. They never brought food. They didn't have money for food. So when we're eating our first meal there on the first Monday, you know, I'm eating my sandwich. And it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And it was handed to me. And you could tell these guys didn't have food. They didn't go out to get a meal. They just sat and watched you take that bite of food. And I don't know, you ever have anyone watch you put a sandwich into your mouth? I had to turn away. And I gave half of my sandwich away. But I had to turn away because I couldn't take it. Then I understood the missionaries had made 2 sandwiches for each of us. Well, we only ate one, and we gave all the other sandwiches away, and everyone got to eat for the whole week. But we didn't know. You don't have shoes. You come to work and do cement work with no shoes, no food. They didn't have food. They didn't have money for food. This gal didn't have shoes. And she came and she tapped me on the shoulder one day and she pointed down at her feet, and I knew that what it meant. She didn't have food. And I gave her $10. And that's not a big deal. I know I'm not special or anything. You know, all the guys gave whatever they could, and they all had relationships with different Haitian people here. But I gave her $10, and she came back later in the week and she tapped me. I was outside working in the piles, and she tapped me on the shoulder and she pointed down and she had shoes. So she wanted me to know that she bought shoes with that money. Made me feel pretty good. Roberto made tin art and sold it, you know, he was approved, if you will, by the missionaries. He was a Christian man. He made Christian art and sold us probably $150 to $200 worth of art when he came over to visit in a couple hours. And I thought for $3.50 a day average wage, that was probably pretty good for him. You remember the cook that I showed you in that, the black cook on the left, you know? The guys just donated money for her, you know, for her week. She was paid by the missionary, but I think we gave her like $240. Can you imagine what that meant for her? You know, in donation, $240. So very unselfish, very unselfish. The guys literally, when we left, you gave your shoes away, you gave all the clothes that you could give away. Everyone did. Hats, clothes, sunglasses, boots, everything. Everything that you leave behind, you left behind. These girls, I don't think they went to school either. I saw them throughout the week. You see Jimmy there? That's Jimmy right there. And you see, doing the work, no shoes, right? They were carrying blocks, you know, without shoes, handling these 2-gallon pails of cement and no shoes. I didn't see any accidents, but man, I don't think I could have done it. That's my teaching all the Haitians how to lay the block and do it properly. Give them more job skills and be able to get a job. That's little Jimmy with Rich. And we're building a stairwell into the new church, like an escape exit and so forth. And I'm carrying rocks over to that area to help. You see up here the rocks up there and that. So we're filling in the steps as much as we could, so we didn't have to pour so many cement. And I'm in there digging in the rocks, and little Jimmy is standing right by me, and I've got gloves on, of course. And I'm digging in the rocks and picking them up, and he goes, you know, what do you say? You know what that was right there, right by my hand, when I'm in the pile and picking up rocks? Tarantula. That tarantula was 4 feet long and 3 foot wide. It sure looked like it. But he warned me. Fan was a pastor that started his own church. And Todd Mordek from Sunny 101, you may know Todd from Sunny 101, asked me to give a Bible to someone that I thought would deserve the Bible. And Fan could speak English, fluent English. Fan has his own church, started his own church, but I want you to read a little story that he has. He only has 25 students in school. It's free for them. My father passed away and left my mother with 4 children. I was 3 years old in that time, according to my mother. So you can imagine, brothers and sisters, how it was difficult for my mom to take care of us and to send us to school. After one of my sisters died, my uncle decided to take us from St. Michael to Port-au-Prince. But our situation was not really changed because I was facing too many difficulties. Stayed all the day long without eating, sleeping on the ground. It was that kind of life. I remember that some days when my mother did not find nothing to give us to eat before going to school, She gave us a piece of salt to put on our tongue and pass the day. And he explained to me that what his mother would do was put salt on his tongue, and it would hide the hunger pain for the day. It would last a day. Now, most people only have one meal to eat a day in Haiti. And some people, it's called like a dirt pie. I would call it a dirt pie. Clay, salt, and vegetable oil. Everyone can afford that, but it takes away the hunger. Clay, dirt, salt, and vegetable oil. It takes away the hunger. Now, there are some microorganisms in there you don't want to get involved with, and we could never eat that because it would really kill us. And those microorganisms stay in the stomachs. You know, worms, right? 2 cents a day for a pill to be dewormed. 2 cents a day. But they can't afford it. But they're not hungry. Fon's story. You know, wonderful man. Worked very hard. Has his own church. He sent me an email and he asked me for $600 to provide a sound system for his church. We're going to do what we can do, but you just don't know how you can help him. And I know that it will be used. He's a very sincere Christian man. He went to school. He graduated from college to teach in Haiti. That was Jimmy that didn't have any shoes. That were my shoes that I left with him, because they were the steel-toed shoes, you know, that we were told to bring. So he got those shoes. They were 3 or 4 or 5 sizes too big, but he wore them. There's the crew and our band of brothers. There's not one Haitian there that was lazy, and there wasn't one American there from the Good News Assembly of God Church that was lazy too. How are we doing on time, dear? Cut off. Okay. You know, I'll cut it short. When I give this at my church, our Redeemer Lutheran Church, my presentation went on for 2.5 hours. No one left, and I didn't have any idea that it went on for 2.5 hours because there's so much to say. I'm not going to do that today to you. You develop a special relationship when you go on a mission trip with your fellow brothers in Christ. And we certainly did. Whenever we see each other, whenever I see Ron, I'll know that we share this time special that week in Haiti together and working for the Haitian people. And you know, the question you come up, why do you do such a thing? You know, and it would be the same question you ask here. You know, why do you join the choir, and why do you volunteer for the choir? Why do you volunteer to do coffee fellowship? Or, you know, mow the lawn here at church. You know, why do you get involved? Why do you need to get involved? And I think it's our love of Jesus Christ, isn't it? You know, we want to do something for other people to show our love for Christ. And you know, what comes around always goes around. I mean, you know, what goes around always comes around. And isn't it true that when you give, you get? The blessings you give, you get back. That's what we got out of this trip. Bring the full tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you an overflowing of blessing. And it absolutely happens. And I have to tell you one story, and this is God's truth. I came back from our trip, and we were gone for over 11 days. 11 days. The dealership did not sell one car. So before I went out on the trip, I spent all my floor plan money and bought cars because I figured, well, when I'm gone, I'm going to do the television advertising and I'm going to do the advertising in the newspaper and so on, and we'll sell cars. We didn't sell one car. So I came back and no cars were sold. A guy comes into the store, and he wants me to buy his Avalanche from him. Right? And I said, well, I want to buy your Avalanche, and this is what I'll give you for it. It was $2,000 more than what he was offered in trade-in at Public Service Garage. I said, that's the good news. Now, the bad news is I don't have any money.
because I just did this mission trip and no one sold any cars and all my floor plan is spent. And he says, oh, okay, well then I'll just bring you up the title, and when you get the money, then you give me the money. And I knew the blessings had started. Absolutely true. Absolutely true story. Now, I sold a few cars because I had been back in the shop, and when he brought the truck up, I was able to pay for it. And I called him and told him that. But it was unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. I don't even know this man. I don't know who he is. So there's where your blessings come back. Why do we do it? Why do we help you out here at your church? Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. You did not choose me, but I chose you, that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should abide. Thank you for listening to me. God bless you all. I hope that touched a little bit of your life, as it certainly has touched mine. And by gosh, please, give more, do more. We're always asked to do it. You give till it feels good, and you do till it feels good, and your blessings will abound. Thank you.